When examining a tarot deck, the eye follows the numbered sequence from 1 to 21. However, the architectural source exists entirely outside this numerical progression. This is card 0, the Fool. To the uninitiated, 0 represents a vacuum, a blank slate signifying nothingness or empty ignorance. Esoteric mystery schools defined this 0 as the cosmic egg. It functions as a container of infinite, unconditioned potential, holding the latent energy of all that is yet to be. This concept aligns with the Kabbalistic tradition of Ein Sof, the limitless void and unknowable first cause from which all existence originates. The Fool represents a fourth-dimensional coordinate. It is the singular point from which the remaining 21 major arcana cards eventually emanate. Because it occupies this unique position, the Fool doesn't participate in the journey of the tarot. It is the generative source code that makes the journey possible. Aleister Crowley refined this perspective through the magical doctrine of Thelema, establishing a specific mathematical definition for the cosmos: 0 equals 2. In this model, absolute 0 contains perfectly balanced positive and negative forces. These opposing energies cancel each other out, maintaining a state of total equilibrium. The universe begins when this 0 point splits into duality, creating the tension necessary for existence. This division maps onto the Kabbalistic tree of life. The void descends into Kether, the crown, acting as the first emanation building reality's geometric structure. Every subsequent card in the tarot acts as a limited, fragmented expression of this original, unified mathematical 0. Universal duality occurs as a strict mathematical consequence of the 0 point dividing itself to experience reality. This creates a paradox in esoteric anatomy. If the physical body occupies three-dimensional space, how can a non-spatial soul interface with it? Rudolf Steiner addressed this through dimensional reduction, tracing the path from physical action back to the source of consciousness. Human will, our actions and physical movements, operates in 3 dimensions. It is fully integrated into the spatial world. Feeling exists 1 dimension lower. It is a 2-dimensional process, functioning like a shadow or a painting cast onto the internal symmetry of the human being. Thinking is a further reduction. It is a 1-dimensional, linear process that connects concepts through a sequence of thoughts. Removing that final dimension leaves only a 0-dimensional point. This is the I, the true ego and soul spirit. The soul cannot occupy 3-dimensional space. It resides at the 0 point, identifying the Fool as the exact geometric coordinate of human consciousness. Ancient systems mapped the 0 point energy onto the cosmos, translating geometry into the language of astrology. This 0 point consciousness is linked to the planet Uranus, signifying erratic independence, and the initiating impulse of Aries. This energy corresponds to the vernal equinox, the start of the astrological year, and the symbolic rebirth of spring. Its linguistic marker is Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph is unique because it has no sound. It represents the silent primordial breath and the element of air, a vacuum that precedes speech. The Fool is the silent intake of breath before the universe speaks. It is the pre-rational life force required to initiate physical creation. Mystery schools understood this 0 force, though they obscured it behind a series of mythological masks. They utilized figures like Harpocrates, the Egyptian god of silence. Often depicted standing upon crocodiles, he represents the mystical absorption of creation. Initiates interpreted the crocodile as the mathematical return to the Kabbalistic 0. Similar patterns appear in the Greek cults of Dionysius and Bacchus, where rituals were centered on divine intoxication and madness. These cults highlighted a technical paradox. True initiation is inaccessible to logic, as rational thought is bound by its own dimensional structure. Accessing the unconditioned source of the universe requires the practitioner to bypass the labyrinth of the intellect and embrace a state of pure folly. All these cosmic and historical threads converge in the Rider-Waite Fool card, which functions as a dense symbolic schematic. The white rose and the red feather serve as energetic signatures, marking the presence of the 0 point within the active life force. The small white dog is a domesticated echo of the ancient Egyptian crocodile, signaling the transition into a lower state of existence. The cliff edge represents a deliberate threshold, transcending common interpretations of accidental danger.
It marks the precise boundary where the unmanifested astral void meets the heavy, dimensional illusion of terrestrial life. Manly P. Hall asserted that the mortal sphere is a world of unreality. The fool's motley garment is a shadow mask draped over divine substance. Stepping off that cliff is a heroic descent. It is the deliberate immersion of the spirit into the three-dimensional world of physical will. To begin the great work of esoteric philosophy, one cannot rely on accumulated knowledge or dimensional logic. To truly master the universe, the initiate must first willingly become the zero, unbound, unconditioned, and perfectly innocent.